Hello gang, Stone Cold Hockey players. This is CCL Season 3 about to take shape. So the assumption here is Season 2 has concluded. I didn't get to play the whole thing like I did with Season 1. I wish I'd had time because Season 2 looked like a hoot. What I did do, I'll go ahead and tell you, is I did a short tournament, a short postseason, and I used all 8 teams in the postseason, and it was wild and crazy fun. And you won't believe me, but I'm here to tell you, the Tulsa Comets got hot for me and took down Regina, the Roughnecks, in the finals. And probably none of you got a result like that. Probably for most of you, Regina was either a repeat champion for the Patrick Cup, or maybe Springfield jumped up and won the cup this time around. But for me, that's what happened. So I've played 2 seasons with the CCL, and I've yet to have the favorite, Regina, actually come through and win the championship. All right, enough said on that. So, but that's where I'm coming from. That's kind of what's in my head as I'm going through this. So I've got a spreadsheet here, and I've been using it to track changes. The league, the initial CCL season was created using these charts they come with the core rules. And season 2 was created using these charts to progress it from one season to the next. And so for season 3, let's keep it rolling and see what we get here. All right, so Saskatoon, the first thing we do, they are currently Class B, and we see if they remain in class. The roll is a 5, and they are going to move down 1 class. So they're going to go to Class C. Well, that's too bad. All right, Rockford, what are they going to do? I think I'm just going to go through this and just determine all the classes first and then come back through it. We'll see if that works for me or not. I haven't done it this way. Rockford is currently Class C. They were Class C for both seasons, and here's a good roll for them. What I roll, a 9. So they're going to move up 1 class. Rockford's going to go to Class B. Interesting. All right, we have Madison. They're the new kids on the block, formerly Dayton. Dayton was a historically, I guess you could say, for our short history, they were really bad. The Bombers bombed, and they have all kinds of trouble. And a lot of that team was disbanded. And meanwhile, Madison has been waiting in the wings, and they joined the league in season 2. Really interesting team. They've got pretty good potential. So Dayton originally was F. Madison came into the league as Class D. And what kind of organization do they become in season 3? So that is going to be D by 8. Stability. No change. They remain at D. And Springfield has been Class A both seasons. I can't see that. That's an 8. Class A by 8. Stability, they remain Class A. Wow, okay. Indianapolis went from B to C, and they took a hard hit. That was actually my first Patrick Cup winner. And boy, did they go downhill second season. I cannot see that. All right, that's an 8. I'm rolling pretty well. So they are Class C by 8. Stability, they remain Class C. Thunder Bay, currently Class C. Ooh, 11. Class C moves up 1 class, so they're on a pretty steady trajectory. They started as a D, they were C last year, they're B this year. Thunder Bay, watch out for them. Regina Can they stay on top? The biggest, fattest numbers in the league on this card. Class A, survey says 11. Oh no. Well, if you don't like Regina, you're not going to like this, because they are going to remain an exemplar, Class A, for the next, how many? That's going to include this season. Well, let's see. Checks for the next 1d6 off seasons. So they got 3 more seasons at Class A. So I'm going to put here A. They are going to be Class A all the way through season 5. Man, that organization's just got it going on. Big dynasty, perhaps, for some of you. Not for me, not so far. There's always been something that got them. That brings us to the last team, Tulsa. And a 5. Tulsa went up to a C, and now they're going to move back down to D. So, for me, they were a shocker in the postseason, and actually won the Patrick Cup over Regina in a 3-game series. All right. But now they're going to fade back down again. Take another downturn. All right, that gets us back to Saskatoon. They have dropped to Class C. So, what we do for changing class, we have to roll their new home con by class. So they are Class C. Their new home con is going to be, wow, I'm rolling high, 8. So that's not too bad. That's a step down. They were a 9. And then they are Class C, so we're going to roll these numbers because they changed in class, so anything can happen. So their attack number, their attack rating, man, rolling high. Attack 9, that's actually an improvement, steady improvement. They've gone 7, 8, and now 9 in season 3. Their defense, 7, that's right in the middle. 7, that's actually an improvement also. Their aggression, another high roll. They were 12, and now they're going to drop down to 10. Now let's go back and get their power play, which is modified off of attack. The modifier is 0, so their power play is also an 8. That's the best they've had. Their penalty kill, modified off of their defensive 7. Is also a 7. That's also the best they've had. This is their best special teams that they've put forward so far. Now let's go to their Class C goalie. 6. Get you a 6. So looks like they're going to take a hit there. Maybe their number 2 goalie stepped up, and their number 1 goalie moved on. That's how you start thinking about the narrative, right? So the modifier for goalie number 2 is an 8. -1. So their number 2 goalie is a 5. Now their aggression number is 10. So we go to the 10 column, and we're going to see how many rolls they have. I roll a 6. That's going to get us 2 rolls. So they got 2 role players. So we go here to the 2 roll subtable. Ooh, rolling 11. So they're going to have 2 agitators, no enforcers. Interesting. 2 agitators, no enforcers. So, so John Sivert had moved there previously from Dayton. Now their aggression drops by 2 points and they have no enforcers. So now we're going to say that John Sivert is moving elsewhere in the league to a team that does pick up an enforcer and probably picks up some aggression. Wow. All right. So there again, the narrative starts to take shape. Meanwhile, moving up in class, we've got Rockford. They are now Class B, and I rolled a 7. So their home con is 8. The best they've had. They went from 5 to 6 and now 8 as a Class B organization. Oh, I need to go back and get Saskatoon's away con. Let me do that before I forget. Secondary modifier, A-con. Oh, that's not a good roll. 3. Oof, terrible. -4 off of their home con. So they are only half as good. They're an 8. I'm talking about Saskatoon again. So they're going to be an 8 at home and a 4 away. Not a good road team in season 3. All right, so let me go back here. All right, so we have Rockford that moved up to Class B. We're going to use this table here. I guess so I don't forget it again, I'll go ahead and get the away con. That's 5. -3, that's bad too. Boy, we're going to have some really big splits in home and away. All right, now, attack for Class B. Take your time. There's a 9. And it's a 9. Wow. So they picked up some major offense. Rockford is looking pretty interesting here. Their defense, I think maybe I'll just go right down the line here on this chart. So their power play modifier is a -1. So that gives them an 8 power play, also the best that they've had. Now we go to defense. 3. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done this. So I rolled a 3. Oof. Defense is 10. Wow. Really good defense. Let's do their PK modifier. 5. -2. There we go. So they're 8 and 6 on special teams. That brings us to aggression. 5 on aggression is a 7 aggression. So they took a big step down. And their number 1 goalie is now going to be an 8. Translates to a 7. That's steady. They've always had a 7 goalie as their number 1. And then their backup, 11, is the same. So it won't matter too much who's in net. They'll be equally good, at least on paper. And then their aggression is now 7. So we'll go over here to the 7 column, see how many role players they have. Oh, I rolled low. It's a 4. They don't have any. 0-0, that Rockford card. So Alan Stone, their former, and Nathan Hicks, either those guys are no longer filling those roles or they've moved on to other teams. We'll see who picks something up. It may be a case where I look at those guys and go, well, maybe they just left the league in favor of going elsewhere. All right, now that's two teams that changed in class. Let's do one that stayed the same. So, Class D, we've already rolled this. So now what we're going to do is pick out an identity for them to keep. What would they want to keep here? Madison, good defense, really good special teams, attack and defense, high aggression. They got a lot of high numbers. They can't protect them all. Tough choice. I'm going to say, and remember, home con cannot be a team identity. So I'm going to say they are going to protect their power play, their 9 power play. They like that special teams. Wait, I can't do that, right? Power play is a secondary rating. So I can either do attack, defense, aggression, or goalie. Is that correct? Yes, attack, defense, aggression, or goalie 1. Those are the only 4. Attack, defense, aggression, goalie 1. So goalie 1's not worth protecting. That narrows it down to 3. They are going to protect I'm going to go with defense. Defense and aggression are both 9. Tough choice. All right, so identity rating flux. We go here. The protected rating is a 9, so we go to the 8 and 9 column. Chances are it will stay the same. And an 8 does stay the same. So they get to maintain that stout defense. And then we do the base rating flux on the rest of these. So their home con. Home con is a base rating, but it cannot be a team identity. So you have to roll here. Their home con is a 4. Oh, look at that. They're going to go +1. So they get better at home, a little bit anyway, incrementally. And let's roll their away con modifier. 7 -2. So they stay the same there. They used to be 4 and 3, a home and away. Now they're 5 and 3. Their attack is an 8. We're going to be in this column. 10. I'm going to move this thing over here where I can see it better. The wall on that's high enough I can't see over it. Okay. What did I just say? It's 8 and 10. Whoops, that's identity rating flux. 8 and 10. They increase their attack from 8 to 9. Holy moly, what if this team gets better? All right, their aggression, which is currently 9, this column, 11. Holy cow, man. Why do I roll so high for this team? They go up to 10. The Mad Dogs are getting madder still. All right. We're at the power play modifier, which is modified off of attack. Their attack is now 9. And 6. It's going to drop a notch to 8. Their PK modifier, based on also a 9. Their team identity, 3 It's going to take a little bit of a hit, drop down to 8, so not as many shots blocked this time. So their special teams were not quite as good in Season 3. Their goalie is a 5. 7. No change. They stay at 5. Their backup goalie right here. Oh, wow. Snake eyes. That equates to a +2. Their backup goalie is really good. So maybe they brought up a rookie there that's looking sensational, or maybe they brought in an old veteran that can't play that much. Wow, interesting. All right, so agitators and enforcers. Their aggression now is 10. We're in this column. maybe they picked up John Sivert, huh? 8. 10 by 8 gives them 2 role players. And that is 8 more. Let's see. I roll an 8. That's 1 of each. Enforcer, agitator. Let's look at these mad dogs. They got Lumberjack Lawson as their enforcer. They had Brett Stokes as their agitator. So I'll have to think about what that means. They didn't pick up an enforcer, so I don't see them picking up Sivert, who we were concerned about up there. All right, so Springfield. Springfield remained Class A. Their identity rating. I think it was it's their attack. They're a top-notch offense. You want to keep that going as long as you can. So, but they are a 11? They're way up here. 8. So they maintain their top-notch attack. All right. Their home con was a 10. Wow. I rolled an 11, it goes to 11. It's like an amplifier for Spinal Tap. It goes to 11. Their away con, 8 minus 1 is 10. So it stays the same. Whew, boy, these Springfield and Regina are staying really, really tough here. All right, defense, base ratings flux. This column, rolled a 9, no change. So for the 3rd straight year, Springfield is going to have an 11 attack and 9 defense. Their aggression is currently 7. Stays there. Their power play is a modifier off of that 11 attack. Rolls a 7. Power play. So that is also going to be an 11. Getting tougher. Their PK, based on that 9 defense, roll a 10, 0. So 11 and 9 are their special teams numbers. Goalie number 1 is a 7. 4 is what I roll. And they're going to go down another notch. So goalie is getting to be a problem for Springfield. That's their weakness. They started at 8, they've gone to 7, now 6. Their number 2, their backup, 7. -2 off of that. Ooh, 6 and 4 for the goalies. So they're going to need every bit of that offense to outscore some opponents. All right, their aggression stands at 7. And I roll a 7, come across. They only have one role player. And it is going to be 9. An enforcer, I bet you. Nope, make that an agitator. So they lose bad Brian Blomquist. Wow. Don't like that. All right. Just making some notes here about the enforcers moving around. And that's the thing with these, with the small kind of middle, mid-tier kind of league, when things happen and, maybe at the end of this, I don't have a place for Sivert or Blomquist to land in the league. I mean, you can easily just say, hey, they're no longer in the league. Either they quit or they got called up to make bigger money, in the NHL or something. All right, that brings us to Indianapolis, the roller coaster ride that I've had with this team. They remain Class C. Their identity rating is going to continue to be, I think they're going to keep their goalie. They've enjoyed having Randall Leduc there. 4, 10 by 4, and they still lose a notch. So maybe Leduc is starting to age. Maybe he has a little injury problem. All right, on to the base ratings. Their home con is 6 by 6. No change. They remain at 6. Their away con, modified, +1. They're going to be a decent road team. A little stronger on the road. Well, that'll help. All right, their attack 10 rating. Do they get to keep it? 7 says no change. Yeah, they get to keep it. Defensive 6. Rules an 8. No change there. Aggression 7 by 9. No change there. Down the middle. All right, now their power play modified off that attack was not very good last year. Power play 11 -1 off of 10, so that's a 9. That's a pretty good power play unit. And defensively on special teams, modifying a defensive 6 by 8. Rolled an 8, -1, so that takes a little bit of a hit too. Yeah, defensively not very good on special teams. All right, we already got their goalie as a 9, and their backup is -3. Ooh, a 6. Big drop off when they go to their number 2 goalie, but I mean 6. That's still better than some of the starters in this league, so not bad. All right, with an aggression of 7. Their aggression rolls are roll 5. They have none. So Michael Allen played the part of an agitator for 1 season, and maybe he loses it, or maybe he moves. He was not an agitator originally, but he sure picked up a lot of penalty minutes in season 1, and the progression seemed natural for season 2. All right, Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay has gone up to Class B. Their Class B home control rating is going to be 7 is an 8. It's actually the same as last season. They were pretty good at home for a Class C team. Now they're away. Yeah, they're away con. Here we go. -3, -4. Oof. Wow. Man, this organization's making progress, but they are going to struggle on the road in season 3. Okay, attack rating. This is Class B. 10. Oh, they improve. They're going up to 9. Always been a pretty good offensive team, but getting better. This is looking like it's going to be a high scoring season. All right, defense for Class B. 6. Gets an 8. Best defense they've had yet. All right, aggression. Okay, 5 is a 7. That's up 1 point. So maybe they picked up an enforcer. They don't currently have one, so Blomqvist or Sivert may have gone to Thunder Bay and help move that up a notch, move the needle a little. All right, power play. Oh yeah, the modifier. So we're going to modify their attack of 9 now by 7. Is also a 9. That's their best power play unit. Their PK unit, based on an 8. 10 is 0, is also an 8. That is by far their best power play defense. That's, yeah, they've had a 4, then a 3, and now an 8. So they've all of a sudden gotten a lot better in that regard. That brings us to their Class B goalie. All right, they've had a 4 and a 7. Boy, if they get better than a 7 here, they'll be in good shape. I roll a 6. It's probably not going to do it. 6 is a 6. So they actually take a step down on their goalie, and then their backup is a 6. Also a 6. So 6 and 6. In goal for Thunder Bay, agitators and enforcers. Go back over here. Their aggression stands at 7. And it's an 8 on the roll. Is going to give them 1 role player. So, Thunder Bay has 1 agitator, no enforcers. But their aggression went up 1 point. But Steve St. Pierre is still it. He's still the man when it comes to annoying the other team. All right, here that brings us to Regina. Yeah, so far those 2 enforcers, Sivert and Blomqvist, are not finding a place to land. All right, Regina remaining in Class A. Can't believe I rolled exemplar for them, man. So their identity rating cannot be home con. Boy, they are known for, they're known for their goalie, Rene Michaud. That is their identity. He's an 11. So let's try to protect that. If they roll a 6 or better, they can keep him at 11. They roll a 9, and so Michaud remains excellent in his prime. All right, that's the identity rating. Let's do home con as a base rating flux. 3 by 12. Oof, they're going to go down a notch. Home con goes down to 11. Their away con over here, 5. -3. That's an 8, 11 and 8. All right, so this is the lowest con numbers that Regina has rolled out so far, making them a bit more vulnerable, especially on the road. All right, their attack rating is 9. That's just not an identity rating, it's a base ratings flux. So we go here. That's right in the middle. That's a 6. Ooh, they barely get to keep that together. So they've maintained their 9. Defense is 8. 10. Wow, defense gets a little better. Their defense that was 8 now goes to 9. That's the best defense they've had. Now they've put a little more defense in front of Michaud. It's going to be hard to score on these guys. They still have really good control numbers. Let's see, aggression was 8. And 6. Stays the same. Their power play adjusted off of a 9. -1. So they are 8 on power play. That is their weakest power play unit. And their penalty kill, 4, stays the same, which is not that great. 8 and 7 on special teams is pretty weak. So these guys are going to need to defend. That's going to be their thing. And trusting in Michaud to do his thing back there. So, all right, the backup goalie behind Michaud, -2 is a 9. So exactly the same as last year. 11 for their starter, 9 for their backup. Boy, most teams should be so lucky. Then they are 8 on aggression. I roll a 3. They have no role players. 0 and 0. That's going to hurt them too. So previously they had Matt Green as an agitator and Ingvald Jacobson stepping into the role of enforcer for a season. But apparently he's not going to fill that role this year. He studied some philosophy and did a bunch of meditating in the off season, and he comes back and he's a kinder, gentler giant. Lastly, Tulsa, believe it or not, my Patrick Cup winners in a short series, they have dropped back down to Class D. So, having changed in class, we will see what their home con is. I roll a 10. So it's a 6. They stay the same. That actually doesn't hurt them in that regard. Their away con, 9, stays the same. So their home and away con is exactly the same as last year. Wow. However, we're going to go to Class D charts over here and look at their attack. Their attack was a 9. And I bet you they have to roll an 11 to maintain that. A 4 is not going to do it. Their attack drops from 9 to 4. So I bet you they can say goodbye to Andrei Maximovich, who's been the core of that offense the past couple seasons. All right, the power play modifier off that 4 attack. This could be ugly. Class D, and I rolled a 9. -2. Their power play is a 2. Oh, these guys are not going to score. Wow, their defense for Class D, 6. So that's about where they've been, about average. They've been a 5 and a 7. Now they're a 6. Their aggression, well, let's do their PK, modifying that. So we'll take that 6 and modify it. +1. So their PK unit is a 7. So that doesn't drop off too bad, but boy, they have really lost offense. Aggression wise, let's see where they are here. Class D by 9 is going to be a 9, so their aggression goes way up. Huh. And then their goalie was a 7 last year. Now it's going to be an 8. Well, how fortuitous. Maybe that'll lift up their second goalie as well. 4 last year, and now it's a 7. Translates to -2 as a 5. So yeah, they went from 7 to 8 for their number 1 goalie, and from 4 to 5 on their number 2 goalie. So good coach. Maybe they brought in a good coach there and got those guys more fundamentally sound. Meanwhile, aggression jumped up to 9. Go back to this aggression chart and see how many role players they got. A roll of 5, so pretty weak on enforcers and agitators for season 3. They only have 1 role player. A little disappointed in how the agitators and enforcers have panned out this year. And so what did they have? They had no role players at all last year. They picked up did I get that right? They picked up an agitator. I need to see whether it's an agitator or an enforcer. If it's an enforcer, it could be either Blomqvist or Sivert. 8 on the 1 roll is an agitator. So they did pick up an agitator. All right, so there's really nowhere for Blomqvist or Sivert to go. The enforcers are getting squeezed out here a little bit. So those 2 guys are probably out of the league, or at best replaced an agitator, enforcer that moved on. So, all right, there you have it. That's how you go through the process of doing the off-season changes. Lots of interesting stuff there. Things to kind of fire up the narrative and the imagination as to how these teams are changing and why. I could go a step further and roll on here if you have an improvement in attack defense, or a decrease or a decline if you have an increase in aggression, decrease in aggression. You can roll those things, and then there are storylines for moving up and down in class. Let's go ahead and do a couple of those. So we just had Saskatoon, for instance, went from B to C. And what else can I say about this? Why did that happen? They are moving down because of new ownership. Wow. Okay. Rockford went up in class with a 6. Major upgrade facilities is well received. Maybe they got a new arena. Maybe they got a new training facility, or both. Wow, that's pretty cool. Everybody else stayed the same. Thunder Bay moved up in class. Why was that? 6, also a major upgrade. All right. And Tulsa moved back down to Class D. 2. Ownership has grown complacent. See? There we go. All right. So that's it, really. That's all the rolling I need to do for now. I'll go through, consider these storylines, change the numbers on the cards, and then look at the player grids. And I'll start moving some players around, promoting, demoting teams or players up and down that grid. And then I'll roll another for another distribution. So, there's these scores, assists, penalty arrays. Just roll new columns and let those fall where they may. And sometimes I'll adjust those. For example, once the arrays fall into place, I'll look for like the biggest, fighting major range that I can find, and make sure that the enforcer or agitator, or maybe a defenseman, is attached to that, assigned that range. Things like that. But yeah, for the most part, the arrays fall into place, and you start moving players up and down, and just see if things make sense. You can almost always form a narrative around it. But that does it. That's a preview of CCL Season 3. All right, I'll get to work on this probably sometime after Lob 2 is released.